everybody, thank you so much for joining on today's video. As you saw in the title, I'm going to be talking about some reasons why your direct sales company is not growing, or maybe why it's not growing as fast as you think it should. And I've come up with about 4 reasons why this might be the case and some things you might want to think about. And this can go for whatever direct sales company you're in, because I think it can apply to pretty much all of them. And if you didn't know, I am in a direct sales company, obviously, or else I wouldn't be making this video. I am an independent artist for Mascara Beauty. It's a makeup company that I'm wearing right now. And so, yeah, I thought this video would be helpful not only for my team, but also anybody out there that might be going through this like I am, or like I have been, sorry. Anyway, the first thing I want to start off with is consider where you're starting. And so we see these powerhouses in the companies that seem like they're overnight successes and they're just making a lot of money and they have these giant teams, and it's hard to kind of see things like realistically when you're looking at those people. I mean, it's like, it's an inspiration and they're so amazing and we know that they're working their butts off, but sometimes it's hard too of like, why can't I be like that? Why can't I be where she's at? And it's hard to see it that way, but you have to consider where they started versus where you're starting. So if you're like me, you're starting from like ground zero, like literally from nothing, like no blog, no social media following, like no one knows who the heck I am. And it's hard to start from that and feeling like you have like no network of friends, like maybe 5 friends. That's where I'm at right now. And so you have to consider that, and you have to consider that maybe the powerhouses in your company, they maybe started out with a successful blog already, a fairly big social media following, maybe a big network of friends. And it doesn't mean that they have it handed to them. It just means that they did the work before any of this happened, before they started their business. So now they're reaping the benefits from that. Whereas you have to go back to where they started and you have to build up that too. You have to build up that credibility and that foundation and start growing your network and your little niche. And so that's something to think about, that you can't compare yourself to them because you're starting completely different areas, and that's okay. The second thing I want to talk about is think about where and how you're spending your time and your money. Because just like any other business out there, there's going to be upfront costs. There's going to be things that you have to invest in initially to grow your business, whether that's products or camera lighting stuff or websites, software, any of that. That's all going to be costs. And you have to kind of think about what you're willing to spend and how much time you're willing to spend to grow your business. Because again, there might be other people out there that are able to spend like 8 hours a day on their business. Like it's a full-time job. So they might see faster growth than you might be if you are only able to spend 20 to 30 minutes a day on your business, which I will say, even the 20 minutes is still good. And it's still something that you need to try and do, is do something every day for your business. Even if it is just a quick post or a quick phone call or catching up with a few of your customers. Something every day is better than nothing, obviously. But you have to consider, again, if you're only able to put in so much time a day into your business, then it might be a slower growth than those that are able to put in a lot more time and work on their business every single day. So that's something to consider. The other thing to think about is where you're spending your time. So if you're trying to grow on the online world like I am, and if you're thinking, okay, well, I've been posting to Instagram like every day, like multiple times a day, and I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting any likes. I'm not getting any engagement. I'm not getting any new followers. Okay, one, that's because the algorithm sucks on Instagram and it's hard to grow on there. So that's something to keep in mind, that it's going to take time. The other thing to consider is your content. Like, take a look at your content. Is it you? Like, does it put off what you want to put out? Are people being able to get to know the real you? Are they seeing genuineness? Is that a word? Are they seeing you genuinely sharing about your products and not just blasting out product photos saying buy this and buy that and follow my link? You know, you got to think about your content and your brand and make sure that that's showing through. And if it's not, then change it. Or if it is and it's still not working, maybe just take a break from Instagram. Like I said, it's hard, and focus on something else. Focus on Pinterest or YouTube or Facebook, whatever. You know, you just got to figure out what's going to work and do that. If you're spending a ton of time on something that's not working, why? That's just wasted time. But I mean, of course, there's the other side of that, that if it hasn't been much time, then you need to give yourself some time. You can't just be posting Instagram and then like 2 weeks later think, oh, well, I don't have any followers or messages and it's not working. No, you need to give it like a good amount of time. Okay, the third thing I want to talk about is, I have to look at my notes. Are you getting in your own way? This is a good question to ask yourself, because this happens all the time in direct sales companies, because we let our fear of failure, our fear of rejection, our insecurities, what other people think of us when they're like, oh, you're doing a direct sales company, like you're one of those people. It's hard to get past those because it's such a big thing in our culture right now to like not to like hate MLMs, and it's kind of sad because they're pretty amazing, most of them. And so that's something to think about. I'm like rambling. Is, are you getting in your own way? Are you having a bad attitude? Are you just always expecting things to go bad? Because it really does. I know you hear all the time about like a positive mindset is everything, but it really is, especially in direct sales. You got to have that confidence, that positivity, that patience, that gratitude. All those things are going to play into how well your business grows and how well people are going to get to know the real you and get to see that this is something that you really do care about and really do love. And so, yeah, the more that you just are patient with yourself and the more you're putting yourself out there, it will grow. Maybe not at the speed that you want, but that's just something you have to accept, that's life. Things don't always happen as we want them to. I mean, we wish they did, but they don't. And so, yeah, just give yourself some time, give yourself some credit, and stop getting in your own way. Be brave and get out there and do it. The last thing, fourth thing, is it takes time. So I kind of already said that just now, but it really does take time. Just like any other business, for some reason people think with direct sales that it's supposed to be like an overnight thing, or like it's supposed to like double your income in like 6 months. But again, that's like a select few that happens for. That's not the realistic time frame for most people. You have to think of it just like any other business. If you start a photography business, if you start a bakery, whatever business it is, it's going to take time. It's going to take time to build your community, to build your credibility, to get out there, for people to know about you and know about your products. And that's just the nature of things, and that's okay. And so if you've been in it for a few months and you feel like you're not going anywhere, you're not making any money, then you have to realize, hey, I've only been in this for a few months. Like, duh, of course it's not going anywhere. I need to give it more time. And I always think of it as, when I start to feel like frustrated or like down on myself, I just think, hey, I just need to keep plugging along. I need to be consistent and positive. And like a year and a half or 2 years from now, I know that sounds like a long time, but I think I'm going to be at a much better place. I'm going to be making some pretty good money. And I need to think of it as like, okay, yeah, it took 2 years to get there, but if I just quit now and do nothing in those 2 years, then in 2 years, I'm going to be the same place I am now. And what's the point of that? Like, there's no growth there, and there's no rewards there. And so just think of that. Just think that as long as I'm still working and still doing what I got to do and showing up every day in my business, it's better than not doing anything. And so that's my little blurb. I will say that for some direct sales companies, it might be a little bit harder if you're having to keep up with inventory, like if you're having to buy stock and things like that, where you're really putting in like your own money. That's the hard thing. That's the hard thing to tell people, like, oh, just keep doing it. Because if you feel like it's just bearing you further and further, then maybe consider something else. Maybe consider a different company. Maybe consider just do what you got to do to take care of yourself and your family, I guess is what I'm saying. What feels right for you. But my company, I'll just throw this out there, that I love about it is that we don't have to buy inventory or stock. And so I'm not putting in any of my own money out there besides what I want to do that's extra, meaning like making sure I have a nice camera set up and stuff for my videos, and making sure that I have a good website, all of those things. That's what I'm willing to invest in, and that's okay. And so, okay, I want to keep this kind of short. There's lots of things you could dive into, but that's just kind of my little take on maybe why your company isn't growing as fast as you want it to. So hang in there, and you're going to be great, and you're going to get that success. I promise. Just stay at it, stay positive, stay consistent, work your butt off, and you will get there. And yeah, make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my other videos, because I'm going to be doing a lot more about this kind of stuff and diving in more deep to some other subjects. So stay tuned, and thank you for watching, and have a good day.